Hello, I hope you're doing well. We are finally doing compound verbs. I've been promising this lesson for the past few lessons, and I'm happy that we can do it because I know that you have your foundation of the past, present, and future, and this is where compound verbs come in. You have to know that, oh, this is the compound verb in past tense, present, and future tense. It's actually quite easy in future tense because it's just the verb as it is, the compound verb as it is, but it just changes a bit in present and in past. But we'll do that. So let's greet and then we'll take it from there. Goeiemiddag, hoe gaan het? Kan nie kla nie. Ek stel werkwoorde voor. Ek is seker. Okay, so I just, when I was saying hoe gaan het, I think you probably heard I didn't go hoe gaan dit. I went hoe gaan het. It's almost like a quick hoe gaan het, hoe gaan het. And I've bolded the compound verb here. Voorstel. Stel voor. Something happens to it. Let's see. Let's see all the verbs, main verbs, helping verbs, and compound verbs. The compound verbs still need a het for the past. Some of them still need a ge in their verb. They need a sal for the future. So they don't have different rules when it comes to past and future tense. There's just something that happens to the verb in past and present tense. Okay, just for these lessons, we're doing compound verbs today, and in the next week we are adding manner to these sentences, including main verbs, helping verbs, and compound verbs. So your stompie is actually becoming a stomp. Not the E yet, but that will come. Compound verb. I'm going to read them to you, and I'm going to put an accent on that first part of the word. Aanraai. Omgooi, oorneem, voorstel, groot word, oppas, losmaak, uitnooi. Compound verbs are compounded. They are two words that are added together. 90% of the time, the prefix is a preposition, okay, and it's added to the verb. In these words, you can see raai, gooi, neem, stel, word, pas, maak, annoy. They are the verb section for part of the compound verb. So when you're in present tense, you're focusing on that last section, the verb, and the prefix before it goes to the end of the sentence. Okay, it's almost like a funny thing that Afrikaans does. Okay, we've got the verb here in the second place. Anything else goes to the end. It just like throws it to the end. So you should be able to recognize compound verbs that there's a preposition before the verb and it's compounded. It's one word. But unfortunately, not all compound verbs do this. So I will do my best to give you the longest list that I can find and make up of the compound verbs, and I'll do that, and you'll have the audio for that you can go through just for vocab and also for recognition of these compound verbs. But some of these verbs, like this next page, are inseparable compound verbs, like agtervolg, mishandel, misluk, omring, aanvaar, volhard, voltooi, ondersoek. They don't separate, they're inseparable. And it's just something that you'll have to pick up with practice. There's no rule that I can tell you if it's agter, or if it's mis, or if it's vol. You can recognize and maybe memorize the volhard and voltooi and the mishandel and misluk, but there's no rule that I can give you. These compound verbs are something that you'll have to recognize. So let's start making some sentences so that you can see where we're going. Okay, so this is past tense. What do you already know about past tense? It needs a het and it needs a ge verb. So what happens is that in the compound verb, the ge goes in the middle of the two words, the preposition and the verb. So, jou kinders het oor die vakansie die tuin oorgeneem. Your kids took over the garden over the holiday. Oorgeneem. So you're just popping the ge before the verb, but also after the prepositions in the middle of the word. Let's look at present tense. The word here is oorneem. Neem being the verb, so you're putting that in the second place. And you're popping the oor to the end of the sentence. Over. Jou kinders neem oor die vakansie die tuin oor. Your kids are taking the garden over this holiday. Okay. And let's do future. Jou kinders sal, future tense sal, die vakansie, oor die vakansie die tuin oorneem. So oorneem for future tense stays the same. That's actually quite easy. So you still have sal and you have your compound verb at the end of the sentence. That's the easiest future tense. Groot word. Die kinders het skielik groot geword. The children have suddenly grown up. Do you see that ge in the middle of the two words? Die kinders word skielik groot. The children suddenly becomes big. So I just want to say the skielik is manner. I've added a manner. How quickly, how they grew up, skielik. Die kinders sal skielik groot word. Future tense, compound verb stays the same. Past tense, the compound verb gets a ge in the middle before the verb. And in present tense, word being the verb, you know where the first verb goes? In the verb one position, the second word pushes the other word to the end. Do you see it? Pause for a moment just to double check. Omgooi. I just love the I got two pictures of people throwing over a pickup truck or a bakkie. So yeah. Okay, die mans het die mans het die bakkie omgegooi. Omgooi, you can see here in the future tense, is the verb, the compound verb. The ge goes in the middle of the omgegooi. Die mans het die bakkie omgegooi. You still have the het in the second position, omgegooi at the end. Now, gooi, being the verb of the sentence, goes to the verb one position, and the goes to the last. Die mans gooi die bakkie om. Okay? Die mans sal die bakkie omgooi. Okay, that's it. That's the rule for the compound verbs. Past tense, in the middle. Present tense, verb with whatever the preposition was to the end, and then future tense, sal with compound verb. The achtervolg, this is one of the inseparable compound verbs. So let's see what it does. You have het. Okay, die kat het die gier stadig geagtervolg. So it still gets a ge, okay, but it doesn't get the ge in the middle because it's an inseparable. You don't want to separate them. It gets it before the word geagtervolg, like you would with any past tense verb. Okay, die kat agtervolg die gier stadig. Okay, agtervolg stays there, verb 2. You're not putting it at the end. That's not the rules for Stompie. You're doing it at verb 1 position. Die kat sal die gier stadig agtervolg. Will slowly follow the scent. Okay, just goes, it's the same rule anyway because in future tense the compound verb doesn't change. Just to note, you have your stadig, your manner adverb there, adverb of manner in the sentence, and we'll be doing more in the next following sentences. Okay. you have finally done all the verbs, and I'll be using them past, present, future compound verbs, all of them together in the next series of lessons, just for you to practice and to recognize, oh, that's a compound verb, so that moves there, or this is actually the past tense of have, that's why it's gehad, het gehad. So there's a lot of practice. The little assessment that I'm giving you will help you practice these compound verbs, and I'll make a really long audio for you. It's my absolute pleasure, so that you can learn the compound verbs. I'm not going to make a list of the inseparable compound verbs, because I think that will create confusion. So I'm just going to make a list of the separable compound verbs. Okay, lekker dag vir jou. Bye bye.